Black Sabbath is a classic Italian horror anthology made up of three stories. My favorite and the most widely known story is the installment called The Drop of Water, which is genuinely to this day one of the best horror shorts in an anthology movie ever made. It's a ghost story with amazing practical effects and a surreal setting. There is so much to unpack here for such a short piece of work, so let's get to it. We start off with an establishing shot, which establishes some city I have obviously never ever seen in pictures because I mean, where is this? Like, I'm convinced this is a dystopian future or an alternative universe because this some new shit. Maybe I'm ignorant to Italian architecture, which is more than possible to what it is, but I just personally have never seen anything like this. Regardless, I love how it looks and how it really has a moody, atmospheric, and comfy ambiance. We meet a nurse, Helen, about to call it a day with the nightcap and some quilt knitting when she gets a call from a maid for a house call to prepare the corpse of a dead medium for a burial. Look at this location. The environment does so much to put the audience in a mood. There is lots of heavy lifting being done just with the visuals. I love it. I literally can't verbally explain what I'm looking at. It genuinely feels like I have been transported to another universe that is slightly different from ours, but just similar enough so that I can recognize it as being on Earth. Anywho, the nurse walks into the house and is guided by the nurse to the room of the dead medium, where we finally see her in a well done jump scare. The sight of this dead medium is so haunting. She looks like the Annabelle doll a bit, doesn't she? The maid tells Helen she hasn't touched her and she is just how the doctor left her. And then that begs the question, why didn't the doctor close her eyes and her mouth? Like, that's a freaky ass doctor. Or maybe he left her like this to scare anyone who sees her because, he's a fun doctor. I don't know. I also need to mention Helen notices a nice little sapphire ring on her finger, and it seems she's looking for that five-finger discount. We see the dress she's gonna wear, a little white one, and we learn that she died alone because everyone is afraid of the spirits of the dead that killed her since she was constantly talking to the dead every Friday through seances. Helen isn't having any of that, as she calls it nonsense. She changes the corpse into a white dress as the maid leaves momentarily. Helen takes this opportunity and hits the corpse with the "Don't let me see it" and takes the ring, but she drops it. And while picking it up, she drops a cup of water and a fly starts to bother her. And finally, she has the decency to close her eyes. If she didn't just loot this lady, I would be remiss to say she was a good person. The water starts to drip on a metal plate, and like the title says, the drop of water commences. It's so loud. She picks it up. The maid gives Helen some shoes, and she is putting them on the corpse when her eyes open again. And then the fly is back. Obviously, Helen is spooked and then she dips like any regular person would. Helen gets home and drinks a bit and tries on her new ice when she is interrupted by the same fly she saw at the house. She tries to kill it but fails, and the loud drop of water begins again. And not only in one place, but in many, many places. She turns off all the sources, but they just keep on bothering her. Now, I don't know why there's so many sinks in this place. She's obviously going crazy. Other strange things start to happen around the place. A door opening by itself, some lights turning off by themselves as well. Then Helen falls and lights a candle for a source of light. And I love that this bit of the story is directed in slow, long shots that follow Helen throughout the house. After she lights the candle, we hear this ghastly moan from the other room, which Helen goes to investigate. I love this gothic scene of Helen with a single candle walking. Classic imagery. It reminds me of that Jim Carrey movie where he's like an old dude. I forgot what I think it's the Ghost of Christmas Past. She opens the door and who do we see? You guessed it, the corpse laying in her bed staring at Helen. She starts to freak, understandably so, as this is one of the creepiest and scariest scenes ever. The corpse begins to rise up like the Undertaker. Helen runs to the living room where the corpse is now teleported to a chair, rocking back and forth, holding her cat. And I'm telling you, this has got to be inspiration for Annabelle. No way it's not. This literally is the same shot. Helen tries to run away, but the corpse is in every corner. Finally, Helen enters a room where the corpse is levitating towards her. Freaking terrifying imagery. As the corpse gets closer, Helen starts to plead for mercy and forgiveness, but the corpse ain't having any of it and kills Helen, leaving her to look just like the corpse did in the beginning of the film. The police investigate the scene. They talk to a neighbor who called it in, and then they realize that Helen is missing a ring. It's suggested that the neighbor stole the ring, as when the camera kind of zooms in on her, we hear a loud sound of the water drops beginning once again. And then we see that the police move Helen, and her face goes to the neighbor, suggesting that, well, she's next. So I'm pretty sure that she's going to die soon. And that's the end of the segment. This little recap does not do the segment justice. So I implore you guys to watch it. It's truly one of the best anthologies films the genre has to offer. The story is very simple, but the execution from the atmosphere, visuals, amazing audio ramps this up so many notches. I love the sound design so much. The wind noises are exaggerated. The water droplets are loud. The score is bombastic. Also, if I'm not mistaken, there is really only one color that is primarily used, and it's a super accentuated and saturated green that is in mostly all of the scenes. I'm not really a color theorist, so I'm not sure why it's used, but I love it, and I love that it's so pronounced. It made me feel uneasy and unsettled at all times, and it did its job. I'm sure. Bad Idea production. Watch Black Sabbath in its entirety. It's really good, especially this short tale. It's on Tubi right now. I think it's even on YouTube. And until next time, so peace out.